obviously me, Paul Tolley and Michael Chen not on yet. And we welcome Michael Moraro. Welcome.
Hi, guys. How are you? I'll be able to turn video on shortly, but thank you for welcoming. Hello.
Welcome aboard, buddy. And our advisor, Stuart. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, man. And our non-voting members, Chief, thank you. Deputy Chief Federico, thank you. Captain Walsh, also on. First Selectman Kevin Moynihan, thank you. And I think that's it, correct?
Correct.
Yep. So we'll call that the roll call. Were there any public comments, Kevin? No? You're on mute, Kevin.
Joe, who's asking for comments?
I was, right? Were there any comments that were put into you?
No, I haven't had any comments.
Okay. Anyone else had any comments from the public that they were asked to share with us?
Who did we ask comments? Oh, you asked for comments to be directed to me. I haven't received any comments.
Okay. Okay. So then we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Penny, I saw you had one edit you wanted to make. Is that right?
Yeah, to paragraph 9 of the February 11
I'm
minutes.
getting motion sickness watching you here, Penny. What are we doing
I
here?
know, I'm looking for, I'm about to lose battery, so I was looking here. Oh, I didn't want to just disappear. Here we go. Okay, I think, just a second. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay, so, yeah, I think the portion of the minutes, paragraph 9, that says, I sent this to you, Joe. Sorry. Okay, in paragraph 9 of the February 11 minutes, the last part of paragraph 9 that says one architect is to perform a site analysis on the existing site and the other architect to perform analyses on a series of potential sites in town. That decision should be deleted. That decision wasn't made by the committee. So I just think that minutes should delete that phrase.
So what would be a better rewording?
I just take the clause out.
Yeah.
Just put a period.
Yeah, just put a period there, right? Because our committee is not involved with the looking for other sites, right?
Understood.
Right. So a period right after existing site, and then delete the rest of it. Yep, I think that's good. Any other changes to the minutes? Well, while we're on, I guess we're on the February 11th minutes. Do we have a motion to accept them as modified?
I move, so moved.
Thank you. Second, Penny, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Paul. Now the February 24th minutes, were there any modifications to be made for those? If none, do I have a motion to accept those minutes? Penny, thank you. Second. Jim, thank you. All in favor? Aye, thanks. Now we're on to progress update. Jim, do you have something you want to fill us in on?
Okay, there's not a lot to report, but Leon and I met with Brian Humes at the South Avenue's current site, police site, just to review with him the site and to talk about the items he was going to perform. He is basically performing per the contract, and it's expected to have his report completed at the end of May as specified in the contract. He is probably going to do two versions of the new building, or one will be a new building and one will be a modification of the keeping portions of the current building. The other thing is he is going to give an assessment of a building in the rear and I don't want to steal his thunder because he's going to write, comment on this, but Leon and he and I agreed that did not look like a likely solution that was going to work out, and he'll come back on that. The other thing which interesting we discovered, he had commented that some of the several police departments are building their ranges independent from the building in which the PD is actually located. And we identified a rather prime area between the two lower parking lots that's both wide enough and long enough for a standalone range building. And he was going to comment on that, which might be the best solution of all for a range. Leon, do you have any observations on that?
I have to step away.
You're muted, Leon.
It's a possibly a good location. I think it could work perfectly, and we'll have to kind of gather more details about that. But it's a very good possibility that that location would be identified would work.
So he's making good progress, and he will complete his report at the end of May as specified per the agreement.
So Jim, when he does that, can you make sure he considers makes certain that noise ramifications? If we were going to do anything on the existing lot, we would definitely need to make certain we were controlling noise on it, just as a consideration. We remember when we talked to Darien, they said they didn't want to let us use their range because it was too noisy for people in the building. So I think because of where that's located, I'm sure you could deal with it, but we should just deal with it.
I think it's better in every regard because it wouldn't be adjacent to an occupied building. It would be a standalone structure and could be independently soundproofed.
Right. I remember, I don't know if when we did we were really concerned about sound when we did the building, the bus driver building, because it was right next to the noisy air conditioning. And I think there are products that can be used that aren't necessarily that expensive that really absorb sound.
Right.
Yep, Penny, I asked him that exact question, and he said it could be constructed in a way that no noise would be able to be heard from outside.
Okay, great.
Just-
Go ahead, Amy.
When I stepped away, you guys may have covered this, but the idea of the independent range, is that something that would be something we can do collectively with other, I mean, the whole idea is that these ranges aren't used all the time. And so multiple police departments, you could benefit from it. Could that be something we consider if we do end up constructing one there, that we can offset some of the expense and the ongoing cost if it becomes available to other police departments? As I know,
Yep.
Kevin, you've been trying to do a regional thing, which to me makes a lot of sense. And if we happen to have the space and can do it, it would, to me, I think that's something, if we go that way, we should see if there's appetite for people to potentially use it for that purpose. Other police departments, I'm just talking police departments. I'm not talking people, I'm just talking police folks.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Amy. And we were thinking about that, and that's exactly why designing it that way as the standalone building would work perfectly, because we could control the access and parking, et cetera. And perhaps other police departments would like to use it. Maybe we could explore the model that Ridgefield has, which is a public-private partnership, and that reduces their operating expenses substantially. And I don't think it costs the town anything to operate that because of that partnership they have. But there's a lot of options possible.
Leon, if there was a department, would Wilton be the ideal candidate at this point?
I think they're the most needy because they don't have anything adequate. Everyone else surrounding has their own.
Who would spearhead that discussion? Would that be Kevin or?
I could talk to their chief and see if he has an appetite for it. And, I'm sure we could work out something reasonable, but, it's kind of far off in the future. If it does happen, I think that's a real possibility.
Yeah, so I guess the first point is whether there's capacity and it makes any sense. And then we can look at it differently from there.
Definitely capacity. And I think it makes sense. It's a matter of if they're interested in that shared model. And I think that why wouldn't they be?
Right. And I would say just a sensitivity that I think that this is a facility for law enforcement folks And I think, I mean, I know you're talking public-private partnership, but I think there are many people who would feel that this is something police departments need. It's not something we necessarily want to promote more broadly. That's obviously my opinion.
Well, I would think about that. I mean, we have to explore everything. I would tend to agree with Amy. And, you know, it also, we want to control the parking because I know there, you know, and you could do that in a deal with somebody like Wilton to say the times and stuff that people could come.
I think we're several months ahead of ourselves on this. Let's see
Right.
what the proposal is and see if it even makes any sense and then go from there.
But it is important. I mean, we have to feel comfortable as a committee
Yes.
that this is part of our purview, right? And I personally believe it is, but it is a slight modification if you say that a standalone range is something that should be considered as well. I personally think that that's part of looking for a new police station or a remodeled police station. But I think we all have to, you know, look each other in the eye via Zoom and agree that that's the case.
Well, we specified in the previous meeting that we wanted the range to be an option. And this is just one way to look at it as an option. So
Yes.
I think it's fully within the scope of what we've talked about.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Stuart?
Yeah, Jim, and or Leon, as you talked with Humes with regards to remodeling the existing building, are we talking about maintaining the facade or the full building? I mean, or was that not defined?
We actually talked about both.
Okay.
Anything else, Jim?
No, Brian said he's making good progress. He's on schedule and we'll report back near the end of May.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Stuart, I know, you know, technically the work, you know, looking at other locations isn't part of our committee, but I think the committee just needs, you know, an understanding that work has proceeded and is moving along. Is that fair?
I think so. I'll let Joe or Tiger or Kevin speak to that, but I would say the answer would be yes.
Mm-hmm. Joe or Tiger?
Or Kevin?
First, Kevin.
Kevin?
Yes, that's moving forward and end of May, the 12-week deadline for both is on schedule.
Good. Penny, did you have a question?
Well, I was just on the other sites. Are there any sites that are where are there any sites that you're focusing on now? Any preview on that we should know about?
No.
Good.
So I also wanted to know, given that I'm back in town now and we're going to get all these reports in May, so I found it very helpful to do the 2 tours of the police departments that we did. Are there any other, you know, police stations that we should visit to look at, either locally or a little further afield? To me, just visualizing it, seeing the cells, I hadn't done that before, you know, comparing it to our own building, which, you know, when you do, it shows up the glaring deficiencies in our building. I'd be happy to go on some more tours.
That's a good point, Penny, as would I. And when you think about our scheduling going forward, if both reports are going to be, you know, finished towards the end of May, June is going to get very busy for us as we start to do,
Right.
you know, our biggest function. And so now's the time, April, May, to continue to educate ourselves, because we're not going to have as much time for that education come June. We're going to be, you know, it's likelihood of a special meeting or two, and as we analyze what we're looking at. Leon, are there other locations you would think we should set up to see?
Well, I think we want to look at locations that are comparable to New Canaan.
Mhm.
So, you know, looking at something like Stanford, it's such a large facility. I don't know if that's going to help us kind of visualize what New Canaan needs. Greenwich is relatively new. Maybe that'd be a tour that makes sense. It's a little larger than ours. We've already done Darien.
I haven't
Newtown.
done Darien. Is
We
it,
haven't done
who's done
Darien? Okay. We did Darien probably a year ago, year and a half ago.
the
Yeah,
committee?
that was before our committee was formed, and so I have not seen Darien either.
Okay, okay, I can set that up. Darien's probably a relevant to see how they melded an old building renovated with a new addition, et cetera. And, you know, frankly, there's some things there that should have been done differently.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
good. Then we want to see
I
it.
can set that up for you. Yeah.
So in terms of the dates for doing it, I'm my daughter-in-law's in labor right now, so at some point in the next I know, very exciting, in the next 10 days I'm going to be headed up there, and I think I'm supposed to isolate ahead of time. So I would love it to be either the beginning of May or the very end of April for the dates that you set up, so I can come.
Of course. Sure. I'll set
Yeah,
that
I
up.
think that first week or two in May would be great. And frankly, I'd like to see Stanford's too, just to see what a large facility looks like. And maybe there's some bits and pieces of that facility that would be good for us. And of
Yeah, I
course,
agree.
Darien and Greenwich. Thanks.
Yeah, that'd be great. And if, you know, let's face it, if the typical committee member can make 2 out of 3 of those that are set up, that would be, you know, that would be pretty good. So,
Sure.
yeah, thank you, Leon.
I'll start setting that up.
And where does Wilton's stand now? Have they started construction, done construction? I'm just not familiar.
I don't think they're anywhere with it. That's last I heard.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments on the next? Okay, so going to next steps, we, you know, at some point, we have to have some kind of an understanding of how we're going to be looking at these architectural reports. We sort of don't have to decide that now, but I want all of us to be thinking about as we roll up our sleeves and look at what's in front of us, you know, how we want to do that. And so we don't have to decide it now, but something to be thinking about over the next few weeks. Jim, did you want to comment on that, or?
No, I don't have a comment on that right now, but I think we should think about it, or
Yeah.
maybe discuss it at next meeting.
All right, good. Anything else you guys want to bring up? I promised it would be done in half an hour, so okay. Okay.
You want to confirm the date for the next meeting?
It second Thursday, 9 o'clock, I believe, correct?
Good.
So what is that in I don't have my calendar open right now?
May 13th,
What is it, Joe?
May 13th.
Okay.
Correct. It's on the calendar.
All right, perfect. And I think it's very likely we'll have that meeting as well as we'll be discussing next steps. We might even have another tour for that, scheduled for that date as well. Police station tour wouldn't be a bad idea to do it on the 13th if we have to be around 9 o'clock anyway. And I would I foresee a couple special meetings in June and July as we go through the architect reports. Anything else anyone wants to bring up before we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Yeah. Thank you. Great to see you all. Michael, welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yep, terrific. All right, guys, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.